Hey, people. Trump's legal team presented its case in front of the Georgia Senate today. And you can see this on NTD. It's over 10 hours here. But I'm going to skip to the good parts. So Fulton County, that's the majority of Georgia. That's where all the population lives. They're the ones that decide who the president's going to be in Georgia. That's the bigger part of Atlanta. So it started out with the state sending out their stooges trying to explain why you got absentee voter ballots and didn't ask for them. He then goes on to say that it wasn't fraud, it was a little bit of human error that was changing some of the counts. He then goes on to say that you can have a ballot mailed to a P.O. box, but it can't be your registered address. And they're having problems with the new system.
Places where you can get an address that's a mail center that, it doesn't say P.O. box. It says it looks like a regular address. Okay. But that is something we're looking at.
Then this stooge comes up here and starts fast talking, and that's just not the way we talk in the South. You know somebody's trying to swindle you when they start fast talking you down here.
Identify yourself when you...
I'm sorry, what?
For the record, give us...
I'm Gabriel Sterling.
I don't think anybody doesn't know you at this point.
I'm with the Secretary of State's office. I'm the Voting System Implementation Manager for Georgia. When we did the forensic hand audit, the hand tabulation, normally, we had a university study from Rice University that says a normal hand tabulation would be 1% to 2% off as a question of scale on average. However, all those studies historically have been done on hand-marked paper ballots. And as we know, that's where variability can come in terms of adjudication. So that's one of the main big parts about that. The 52 counties tended to be smaller counties, so you had less likelihood of having those variabilities come into place.
Then this director for external affairs of Fulton County comes out, and she puts her mask on when she gets to the microphone so you can't tell she's lying to you. And she turns it over to the chairman, Pitts, real quick, and they both try to explain away about the water main break was just a small leak that was seen at 6 o'clock and cured by 8, and everything else you heard about it was a hoax.
The question of chain of custody has been raised, so I have had an opportunity to talk with the staff about that. I was not personally there, but my understanding is just in a room like this, if there was a leak over here, that does not mean that all of you would necessarily leave. And that is my understanding, is that the workers who were responsible for those ballots never left the room. They were in the room the entire time. They had to stop working for a period of about 2 hours, and that was the reason it was brought up in the first place, is there was a slight delay of a couple of hours where they couldn't access the entire room. But
then they went on to say that, after the leak was fixed, they left and they didn't see what happened the rest of the day. Then at about 6:33 into it, the president's men get up there and he says the same old thing. Same thing we've been hearing. He's going to try to prove that there was fraud. Then about 6:25 into it, you can see on this clock over here about 13:22. Oh, Jackie Picks gets up there. She drops the bomb.
So I'm Jackie Pick, and I'm here as a volunteer. I am a lawyer, but I'm not acting as a lawyer in this case. I'm just helping out the legal team here. And going to explain to you the evidence that we have from State Farm Arena here in Fulton County, which goes to what Ray was talking about in terms of fraud or misrepresentation. So when that cues, I have to depart from the microphone and point out some things at times. You're looking at one big room. I'm sorry, I have a voice issue today. They are roped off with the press on the side, and we can show you the people who gave us the affidavits. So the Republican observers said they were the last people to leave news crew, excepting those 4 people.
So she fast forwards through the tape up to about 10:30, and she said this blonde-headed woman comes in here and tells everybody they're going to quit counting and it's time to leave. And everybody will leave.
And 10:35, which is consistent with what the affidavits say. Okay, so 10:25, they're still there. Let's go to 10:35. It takes it just a few minutes for the frames to actually catch up with there you go, with the time that you're seeing. So here you see it's all cleared out. We just went from 10:25 to 10:37. The place is a ghost town. This is where the people were vacated and told, go home, come back at 8:30. We will now stop working and stop counting. But notice who stays behind. You have 4 people, consistent with our affidavits, who stayed behind. And so you'll see the lady in purple. You'll see 2 women in yellow in the back, which is where the scanners are there at the top right frame. And then the lady with the blonde braids also, who told everyone to leave. Those are the 4 people who will stay behind. So the Republican observers said they were the last people to leave State Farm Arena, along with the Fox News crew, or people.
And these are observers standing back here. They can't see anything anyway. And they were told to leave.
So what you're going to see, look at the ladies in yellow. You'll see that they will begin just sitting still, doing nothing, ostensibly not working, because after all, they said they're going to stop counting. They will wait until the witnesses over there in that roped off area, the press and the observers, leave the room. Then you'll see them move into action and begin scanning ballots. Okay, so I think what we can do now is fast forward to about 11. Do you see them? Yeah. Okay, there they walk. They're walking off. But the ladies in yellow are still there.
You see these crates just showed up with these ballots.
Yes, keep your eyes on the lady in purple and the 2 in yellow and the woman in the blue apron with blonde braids, because those are the people who stay behind. Okay, so what you're going to see happen at about 11 o'clock is once everyone is gone, coast is clear, they are going to pull ballots out from underneath a table. Watch this table.
So we missed where these crates come from, but she's going to backtrack and see where these crates came from.
So actually this will take a few minutes, but we did not know when we first watched this, okay, is it normal to store suitcases of ballots under a table, under a tablecloth? Is that how they run the place? Maybe this is what they've been doing all day. Maybe this is what they're doing under all the tables. So we went back and watched the video. It was a team of us. We don't see that. What we see is typically you're going to find ballots, back in this corner or coming in through a door, and then they get moved and circulated throughout the room. And it can get a little confusing because they have these black containers of ballots. They have the U.S. Postal Service containers. But what we were trying to do when we determined that there were ballots being pulled out from underneath this table is, what was the chain of custody? Where did they come from? Who put them there? When did they put them there? We only reviewed this at about 1 a.m. last night for a couple of hours, so we're going to need about 14 hours to watch it carefully because we fast-forwarded through it several times and could not find that particular frame, but here's what we can tell you for sure. And we're going to roll this back and show it to you. There you go. So now they're going to start pulling these ballots out from under this table. This table, the black one, was placed there by the lady with the blonde braids at about 8:22 a.m. in the morning. So she put that table there. So the same person who's staying behind now, the same person who cleared the place out under the pretense that we're going to stop counting, is the person who put the table there at 8:22 in the morning. Yeah, I saw 4 suitcases come out from underneath the table. Yeah, upper right hand, you see the gentleman in the red. So he just pulled one out. So what are these ballots doing there, separate from all the other ballots? And why are they only counting them whenever the place is cleared out with no witnesses?
So you're looking at 5 people here should be hung for treason. Two of them here in the yellow counting, the other one in the red counting, and the supervisor in blue, and the lady here that was the one that drugged the table in the morning.
These machines can process about 3,000 ballots an hour. You have multiple machines there, and they're there for 2 hours. So you do the math. How many ballots went through those machines in those 2 hours when there was no one there to supervise, to be present, consistent with your statutes and rules, to supervise the tabulation? We believe that could easily be, and probably is certainly, beyond the margin of victory in this race. Because if it's only 3 scanners working for 2 hours, right, that's 18,000 ballots that went through. It is from their affidavits that we even knew to ask about this. And you might recall that the press reported there was, like, a supposed water break or water main break or pipe break or whatever, and that this was an excuse for people clearing out of State Farm Arena. It's not clear from the affidavits I saw whether or not that was the reason given by the election official or whether they gave any reason at all. They just said, stop, we're leaving, we'll be back at 8:30. So I don't know if that was a play here or not. Okay, can we back up to 8:22 a.m. in the morning, same frames, because we wanted to know, when did that table get put there? Who put it there? When did the ballots get put there? Who put it there? Okay, so 8:21. You'll notice the table's not there at all. Here it comes. There's the table going in that we're talking about where the ballots were obscured. That lady who's moving it is the lady with the blonde braids. She's dressed differently in the morning, so it took us a while to figure out that's the same person that you see at night with the blue apron on who's yelling for everyone to leave and who stays behind to help tabulate ballots after they've all left. So I can see that she's the one who chose to place that table there, close to the scanners. And so the video is still under review. We need to spend hours reviewing carefully how those ballots got there. But we can tell you that it appears to be an aberration from how the other ballots were handled in that room throughout that day. So that's the gist of it. Do you have any questions?
Fulton County Chairman Rob Pitts testified in a committee earlier today that the water break occurred at 6:07 a.m. and was repaired by 12:07 a.m. 8:07, 2 hours, 6:07 until 8:07, and that the water main break did not disrupt the work of the whole room. That his example was that if we were counting ballots working in here and the water main break was in the back, or the leak, that we would just simply move out of the way of the leak. But he testified this morning that the leak occurred at 6:07 and was repaired by 8:07 a.m. From what I'm seeing here, I don't see anybody moving around to avoid a leak.
No.
He did state that the leak was greatly exaggerated and that it was not like wiped out the whole place, but I just thought that might be.
What's that?
I mean, the water leak, according to the commission chairman, was at 6:07 a.m.
I'm told that we have a video that it was a toilet leak and not a water main break. But
Nope.
I know that Mr. Pitt's name was mentioned in one of our affidavits, and our witness says that he was physically present in this room clear up until everyone was made to leave. So presumably, if he was in the room at the time, they made the announcement he would be a witness to that. He was one of the last to leave, but he did leave in front of our witnesses, before our witnesses.
So if you watched the beginning of it, that was the state man here that says, no, right after the water leak I left, but the witnesses says, no, he was there watching all day. And so the water leak was a sleight of hand to get people out so they could put a table in and hide ballots underneath the table. So when the watchers got there, they didn't see the ballots, and they left. You know, if somebody's watching the door, they didn't see any more ballots go in because they were already hidden there at 8 o'clock in the morning. They some dirty bastards. Yeah, we need to hang about at least 100 people off of this. Then you get Giuliani come back, and he says the same thing he's been saying. Then he calls his old Texas buddy up. He's a specialist at voter fraud. He says he's got a bunch of 3-letter agency exes working for him. And this is one of them voter machine experts that comes up next, and he lays a good case out there about the fraud. Then you get a line of watchers, Republican watchers, volunteers, that tell a story about how they were being pushed back, and some of them were even kicked out by security for asking questions. You get some people that come up and tell the story about how they don't think their vote was counted. And it's getting late. Everybody's getting rushed through after this. But most of these are all watchers with the same story. This is a second-time voter, and she says that when she went to vote, that they told her that she had voted absentee ballot, and she doesn't fit in the case that the man at the beginning laid out here, because it was her second time voting. She voted in person last time, so she wouldn't have been on the rollover list for the absentee. And then another line of vote watchers that nothing was up to par. And this goes on for a while. And this man says he was kicked out for asking questions. And this man says that he didn't like the protocol at all. He said there was no protocol at all. Only protocol was keeping the watchers out. And this old girl, she wasn't happy with it. She was trying to push her run for Senate, though, so they run her out pretty quick. And they had to have a Latino in the group, too. She said that she got her card the legal way, and she was doing it for her country, and she didn't like the way it was going on either. And so this one old senator, she was letting everybody know that she was a Democrat, and she was liking the choice. But the rest of these guys got to talking, and it looks like they're going to do something about it. They're not going to blow this one off. So it looks like this is the way this is going to go down. Biden's going to go down with his ship. All right, good day.